Hi, I'm Nick Shell, a certified Enneagram coach. I want to share some things that I have processed through after reading this book, The Honest Enneagram by Sarah Jane Case. You can purchase this probably less than I paid for it by clicking the link right there. It takes you to Amazon. Also, if you'd like to know what your Enneagram is, you can probably figure that out by clicking the other link I have that will take you to a free Enneagram test, and it takes about 10 minutes. Or maybe you want to become as enlightened as I am, and you want to become certified yourself for Enneagram. Not only have I done it, 4 of my viewers have done it. And I know this because they clicked that link right there, as you can if you wish. What I want to address, and this is what's cool, I am absolutely no professional. I'm just some guy who happens to be certified in Enneagram, and I'm really perceptive and I dive really deep as I understand myself, but I've learned so much about myself since getting certified. I want to talk about the difference between anxiety and fear, because this comes up a lot with Enneagram. Anxiety, fear, and shame also, but specifically I want to differentiate anxiety and fear. What is anxiety? Anxiety is based on things that might happen that are bad. Bad things might happen to me. Fear is bad things are happening to me. So bad things might happen, that's anxiety. Bad things are happening, that's fear. And what's interesting is, for me, I'm a counterphobic 6, wing 7, sexual subtype. What that means is I'm really focused on building one-on-one relationships with people, and I don't act afraid. The way I do is I confront my fear. So when it comes to my anxiety, I hide it. I've had it for my whole life. But for 30 years, I've been in this subtype of confronting my fear, and I'm just now understanding that about myself. Imagine how weird that is. The past 30 years of your life, well, that's all a lie. So when I look at anxiety, I'll put it this way. I just wrote a song like a couple of days ago, because I do put my songs on here. And so what I do is I do one song at a time. By the time I record a song, then usually I'll write a song. So I wrote the song within an hour. And this ultimately was the first time I wrote a song knowing that I'm this counterphobic 6 that addresses my fears head on. I'm going to read the lyrics to this one verse. The waves crashed up over the deck, yet I showed no signs of fear. While everyone else was a wreck, my anxiety cleared. There we go. That's the key right there. Is that what is anxiety? Anxiety is worrying that something bad might happen. But when it does happen, you're not afraid. And that's what a lot of 6s are in that situation. You worry about bad things happen until they happen. And then when they happen, you're, quote, calm in the crisis. And that's always been me. I mean, especially like with the whole COVID thing when it kicked in 2 years ago. I honestly was never afraid of that. I even said in one of my songs I wrote that year, I must have been built for the apocalypse. I was never afraid of it. But again, I'm a counterphobic 6, so I challenge that head on. I'm like, okay, if this is in the world, I'm going to have some good memories on the way out. That's how I looked at it. So ultimately, think about this. If you deal with anxiety, what's one of the trade-offs? Probably that when the bad thing does happen, if it ever does, right? Because a lot of times these things we worry about don't ever actually happen. Most of what we worry about doesn't actually happen. But when it actually does happen, you're prepared for it. I guess one of the downsides is you have to keep reliving this thing until it finally does happen, if it does happen. And then when it does happen, you already know what to do. You've already thought it through, even if it's in the form of anxiety. And I just think that's very interesting. So just like the line in the song, while everyone else, was afraid, ultimately my anxiety at that point cleared. When the bad thing happened, my anxiety went, and I focused on getting through it. So I think ultimately, for 6s, that's one of the things we all have in common, whether we are aware of it or not. We are anxious people because we're looking for what might go wrong and what could go wrong. So of course we're going to be more anxious than most people. Again, whether or not that's obvious, we're all dealing with it. And that's okay, because there need to be people in the world who are looking for what might go wrong and what could be wrong, and who are preparing for that. But that is interesting, that when the crisis actually happens, we become the stability that we're looking for from other people, because specifically social 6s and specifically sexual 6s like me, building that network, building that alliance of safety and security by having other people, safety in numbers. And what we find is, and no matter what your Enneagram, whatever the thing is that you fear, you often are able to, that becomes your strength for other people. So if you are fearing, I need security, then you become that security when the bad thing actually happens, if it does. Isn't that pretty cool? Your comments belong right here.